All right, what's up, everybody? Jeff in Control Robinson here with a Codex review stream. This is going to be a little bit of a different clip for those of you that are more used to coming into my channel. I'm going to be just perusing, well, not even perusing, we're going to scour, if you will. We're going to scour through this Codex page by page, and we're going to take a look at what I think of it, you know, and get into the nitty-gritty of it. And we're going to look at the artwork, we're going to look at all the numbers, and we're going to discuss it. And this is a live stream, so I'll be able to talk with the chat, answer some questions, and kind of just have a nice little 40K hangout for right now. I will then be uploading this video to YouTube, which some of you might be watching right now, where you can watch this at all times. So just moving forward, I am a Games Workshop reviewer at this point in time until they think I'm too bad at this or something, which means I'll be getting all the codexes. I've been told that I'll be getting the Forge Bane box as well, so I'm just kind of sitting here like, okay, because if they keep sending me all the new boxes as well, then that's just amazing. But my plan is to go through all of them from a perspective of someone that's been in the hobby since I was 12 years old, so we're talking 20 years now. And then for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been mostly a competitive player who loves gorgeous models, so I pay Frontline Gaming to paint up my models really nicely, and I travel around the country and play the game. So that's a little bit about me. I guess what I should also do for this first video is kind of set the groundwork for what we're talking about and moving forward. So I'll be doing all those reviews, like I said. My armies are Adeptus Mechanicus, Tyranids, Custodes, Knights. I guess that's all that I have. I had demons in the past, so I've got a lot of Warhammer in my blood. But all my friends play all the different armies, so I consider myself fairly knowledgeable. But I do want to be fair and say that Tau is a race that I've never collected, never owned any models for. So if you're looking for mega top level advice on Tau, I won't be able to give you that probably, but I think we can have a good time, and I've got a sharp mind for this game, so we'll be able to kind of go over all that kind of stuff. The mechanics of the stream. So let me just get this out of the way. We're going to improve this stuff. The overlay was made by my wonderful right-hand man, Cobra Venom. I think he did a great job. But there's going to be times where the Codex is out of focus. You can see a little bit of glare there on the front of it. That won't continue, and you will be able to, just to give you a sample, I am going to be able to hold it. So for instance, like right here, you can see that just fine. You could read all the words, you can see the beautiful artwork, but it's just, in my perfect world, it would constantly be in focus. There would never be glare, and I wouldn't have to move it around and stuff. So I'm just going to ask for your patience on this first one. We're going to improve the setup moving forward, but it is what it is for right now. Okay? So I'm going to just spend, I don't know, however long it'll take. We're going to go page by page. Some faster than others. Obviously, this is not Uncle in Control's story hour where I read you guys all the fluff and stuff like that, but I just want to give a general review of the Codex and then dive into the stats of the units and how this army can kind of synergize, and that's where I think I'm most interested. So, and then at the end, I'd like to do a Q&A session with my live stream. If you guys have any questions or anything you want me to go back to, you can ask for specific pages, but a couple hundred of you demanding a very specific page that may or may not have already been covered and stuff like that, I probably am not going to be able to, make everybody happy, but we'll try. That's kind of my thing. So let's do it. So here you go. Whoop. The Tau Codex, which, at the time of this recording will be coming out this coming weekend, so we're a few days ahead here. That's the last thing to mention as well. The embargo for me to show this off was actually up on Saturday, but I was at a Warhammer tournament in Portland, Oregon, which I won, by the way, with my Custodes. In the future, I'd like to do this day one, so that's what you can kind of expect in the future. Okay. Any other questions? Keep them in the comments, or if you're in the chat, let me know there too. So let's get into it. One of the nice things about this Codex that it's kind of a funny little aside. I really actually like the different coloring and the different feel of the different codexes. This one is almost all this kind of white and light blue. And then of course it has a lot of like the Tau style lettering and stuff like that. So it's just kind of nice buying a book like this if you're that guy or gal that collects that army and getting the feel that some thought and care went into it, even on that level. You certainly do get that. So there's the table of contents, and again, talking about the little sheens. You can see some stuff there, and it's not perfect focus, but it's the best we can do for right now. The other kind of standard for these codexes is that the first few pages are mostly, let me see if I can find a nice healthy medium with the sheen there. That's about okay. Artwork and fluff in the beginning. One of my favorite parts about these codexes is that it'll actually give you a small description of every single unit, and even talk about like the way their empire is shaped. So from the perspective of like, I'm just getting into 8th, I've been reading up on Tau, looking into them, they look the coolest. This little book gives you everything. It talks about the different castes, it talks about just the way their entire system is kind of shaped up anyways. And it's definitely something that Games Workshop did on purpose, right? Because in the past it used to be like, hey, I'd really like to get into Dark Angels, what do I gotta buy? And they're like, well, this book, and this book has most of that, but they just came out with a detachment that's a part of this box set over here. So if you get that, you have these awesome rules over here. And it just became, you know, you could see the person's eyes gloss over, and they just weren't that interested. Too much to get into. Not the case in 8th. And then on this page, it gives a little bit of the past, which is really cool. And in 8th edition, they're pretty aggressively changing the fluff, which has been really fun for me as well. Because I played 5th, 6th, and 7th edition competitively, and all the codexes, which not everybody got a codex for each one of those editions, but for the most part, you got at least like 2 codexes for most armies in there. A lot of the times, the fluff was just rehashed. You were like, oh wow, there is an excerpt on the Doom of Malantide. It's different from the other one, and that was like the nice thing. In these codexes, they're updating you on exactly where these armies are at this point in time, these races. And the Tau one is pretty interesting. I'm just going to give you the footnotes as we kind of go through this. One of the things about Tau is that they are one of the most technologically advanced races of all of Warhammer 40k, but they're also the youngest. They just kind of emerged. They developed very quickly, and then they... What do you want to say? They absorbed, I guess you would say, different races into servitude. One might use the word slavery, but I think Tau players would bristle at that. So again, I'm not gonna... You can't read all of this. That's not how we're gonna be able to do this, but I will show the stats and stuff like that when we get to it. But they don't have expansive, faster-than-light travel, which is kind of interesting. They're very technologically advanced, but to get across the universe for them is actually really difficult. Well, in the 8th edition codex, the one I'm holding in my hands right here, it talks a little bit about them getting, for the first time, the ability to do that. And kind of what happens. And since you're here, I'll go ahead and spoil it a little for you. But the nitty-gritty, I think you're going to have to dive into. They talk about how, in this event, they're having, like, across all their planets, a big celebration. They're like, we're doing it! We're doing warp travel, and then it like massively explodes, and their fleet disappears, or at least the segment of the fleet that was dedicated towards this outcome. And they're like, we're dead. We're never going anywhere. But as it turns out, they did do fast and light travel through the warp, and they ended up on another part of the galaxy, and they've just kind of been like making a beachhead there and kind of expanding to it. And they end up actually connecting back with the main portion of their race. And the way the book talks about it is something about the people that went through that warp. They're a little bit different. There's just a little bit something off about them. I don't know. Sometimes when people travel through the warp, they encounter different things, and they forgot about Gellerfeld. Yeah, you know what, Shudra? They might have. The Imperium, as nice and friendly as those fellers are, they might not have shared that information. So everyone goes through the warp once or twice, and kind of encounters different things. So we're still in the fluff portion. I'm just kind of showing you guys the artwork, like I said. We'll go through the numbers and stuff like that, but it's a beautiful codex. Really nice. This actually might be the part I was just talking about. Yep, this is actually the part. Fate of the Fourth Sphere. Does it sound like Event Horizon? You know, it might. It might. So this is the part I was talking about, but you can see it's a 2-page spread, so you can get into that. And then it goes right into this: New Horizons, New Dangers. My Tyranid heart is really happy because there's a lot of mention of Tyranids throughout this, which is good for me and everybody else, I'm sure. And there you go. You can kind of see their little empire. Always talked about on the rise. It's the kind of nice juxtaposition, too, of everything else. The Imperium of Man has, like, stagnated. It's the grim dark. Everything's frozen. You know, Eldar are on the decline. They're down to their craft worlds. Everything's gone to poo. Tau, they're like, no, this is great. We're figuring things out. We're moving in the right direction. We just want to free people and for the greater good. I guess they'll find out. Language and culture. This is I'll tell you, a lot of my friends, one of the best painters I know, obviously, Israel, who's painted a lot of my army, including my Warlord Titan. They get way into the language. I think it's really cool. Again, it gives that unique feeling. Even the Tau alphabet is here. I'll show you that. So there you go. You can spell your name out in the Tau alphabet thanks to this codex if you really like to. I'm sure it's available elsewhere. Montau? The Terror. The Tau's worst nightmare. Oh, I thought that was the Modka. Apparently humans aren't the biggest of deals. I'm looking at this right here. Oh, there's the Tyranids. We're just called the Yi. I don't know. Same with Terrans, we're always upbeat and happy. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I got some serious sheen on that angle. Military organization. I like that. Get a picture of they do this in every codex as well, which I think is really cool. They just very clearly lay it out. They're just like, hey, this is how they break it up. Which I kind of like. I think that's cool. It's just the codex just equips you with the ability to just go as far as you want. Fluff, competitive, everything. You know everything. And here are the different septs. That's kind of if you hear language like chapter tactics or doctrines, this is their version of that. As far as what an actual sept is, I don't really know. To me, it's like divisions or something like that, but I don't want to upset some Tau players. Like, huh? They're not divisions, you fool! Battlesuit Markings. Oh, that's kind of a cool part. I'll show that. Right there, you see that? Talks about, which again, kind of goes over my head. I actually just played a Tau player this weekend. Beautifully painted army, but I'm sure a lot of it went over my completely caveman-like Montka head. Because it was very, I mean, you can see the different markings they have, like their shoulder pads are different colors. Tau armies, some of the most beautiful armies I've ever seen are Tau armies. I think there's a lot of fun. I can't remember who it is, but someone in my gaming area has a digitally camo painted Tau army, and it's just gorgeous. And then every codex has this too, which is literally just like a historical breakdown of their major conflicts leading up to the current day, which is also very cool. You will notice that in almost all the codexes, they fight everybody, just to make it clear that everyone's fighting everyone. And that is a frickin' cool picture. My god. See down here. Really cool. I gotta say though, if this is a, it's the Tau Codex, if they're already getting into close combat with Space Marines here, it's probably not going super hot for them. We'll talk about strategy when we get to that in a second. Look at that. Yeah. Commander Shadowsun. And this is, I think, where we go through each of the different units, and it just gives a little bit of a breakdown of them. Yep. So there's the commanders. One of the controversial things about this codex is that each army can now only include 3 commanders, which is very different from how Tau was played before, but I think it's mostly fine. We'll get into that. So ethereals. You could say there's only war. Erratic Buddha, absolutely. On Va and on Shi. Oh, is Anva the Space Pope? That's all I know him as. Okay, that is him. 2 bodyguards. Master of the Blade. Yeah, I saw that. Banner Farsight. That's I'm not much of a Tau guy, but he speaks to my heart. I like him. Hero of Vorla. He's still a badass. Dark Strider, another mainstay of Tau armies, very cool. Then we got Cadre Fireblades back here. Check out Farsight series by Phil Kelly. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Phil Kelly's getting into writing, huh? Pretty cool. Strike teams. These are the infantry. Love the models. I think they're really cool. You don't see a lot of infantry, or at least you haven't. Maybe that'll change with this codex. I know that Reese at Frontline Gaming was talking about making an infantry-heavy team. Tau army, excuse me. But they are such cool models. And they actually have some pretty good diversity on them, too. A lot of times, us Xenos fellers don't get the chance to have a lot of options in terms of how you outfit your infantry, and they got some good stuff. Pathfinders, one of the best ways to get marker lights on your opponent. Marker lights a lot more toned down than they were from 7th edition, but still pretty darn good. It's you know it's pretty much the backbone of Tau. You should be thinking about markering stuff up. And that's Devilfish. Sniper drone teams. And again, this section is not letting you know their abilities. It's not about that at all. It's just kind of talking about what they do and how they function. See someone mentioning Fire Warrior. Oh, is that a book? Because there's a game called Fire Warrior, I think, and people love it. I know that it's what got one of my buddies into the game, even. The tabletop game, Tactical Drones. Of course, is a huge part of the Tau army. Hammerhead gunships. Probably put it down like this. Yeah, for this I'll just show it like this. Long Strike. It's basically the Pask, the tank commander. The Titan Slayer. Yeah, it's a little bit out of focus here, but for these pages I want to give you guys the broad strokes. Stealth battlesuits, very cool models as well. Tau have a great range. I will say this, it's already been announced, so I don't think I'm revealing anything too terrible here, but you're not getting new Tau models with this release. I think that's mostly okay. Of course, everyone who, you know, when your army comes out, you want to hear you're getting new models, but I think Tau players, I haven't heard any grumbling from my Tau friends and stuff like that, because they know they have a very wide range, as is. And they did just get some pretty new models, and they're pretty great. Broadsides. Ghost Keels. Riptides, which just became a lot better. Storm Surges. I like the shotgun on it. This is an interesting thing here as well. So Tidewall Defense Networks, something that came out in 7th, were mostly banned because the rules were kind of wonky. In 8th, not so much, and they're even better. They're transports, essentially. The Flyers of Tau, highly underrated Flyers. And Croute. I'm going to be all over Croute when we get to the pages talking about their stats. Because I think in order to make a good Tau army in 8th, you probably need Croute. You probably need a lot of Croute. Vespid Stingwings, you do not need those guys. God, are they pretty cool models. And I'd love to be proven wrong. We'll take a look, but I just, I don't know. They're not terrible. They're not the worst thing. That's the nice thing about 8th, though. Like, any unit, even the worst unit in your Codex is not the worst unit you had in 7th. I promise you that. It's just simply not. And now it's showing off the models and the very different... this is also nice for you hobbyists out there, of course, that are just like, how do I want to paint my guys? What faction? This is what I can do. You never see the flyers, man. Like that right there. The Razor Shark, I've never seen that. This guy right here. And they're not bad, especially in 8th. Take a look at them. If you're a Tau player watching this, absolutely take a look at them. You probably don't own the model. Champions of Unity. Isn't that nice? And then there's always this picture too. Kind of showing off the range of the army. What I think is kind of funny about this picture is there doesn't seem to be much of a semblance of why. This is not every model, I don't think. No, it's absolutely not. It's not 2,000 points. It's not 1,500. It's nothing. It's just it's like, this is just an army. They did that in the Custodes Codex, and they were just like, here is just an army. And someone added them up. I think it was Winter's SEO, and he added them up, and it was like, this is 2,700 points. It's like, that's not an army. No one's doing that. Forces of the Tau Empire. So let's get into this. Let's take a look. So their abilities. These are kind of the... If you have a pure detachment of Tau, this is what you get. For the greater good. I'll pull that over into focus. If you can mostly read that, the glare is right down the middle. When an enemy unit declares a charge, a unit with this ability that is within 6 inches of one of the charging unit's targets may fire Overwatch as if they were also targeted. A unit that does so cannot fire Overwatch again in this turn. Now that's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh reading. It's a bit of a rough interpretation. So, well, not interpretation, excuse me, but the way they made this is a bit rough. So it used to be, and especially in 8th too, by the way, that if, like, let's say I declare a charge with two Termagants, and they get obliterated, and you did for the greater good. So you grab 4 units that are within 6 of the guys I declare the charge on. You obliterate those Termagants. The unit that's being charged gets to Overwatch again when I then declare the charge with my Carnifex. But all the other guys that did that for the greater good Overwatch then do not get to Overwatch. And if I declare them as the target after that initial charge, they also don't get to Overwatch themselves. So I feel like that's interesting, because throughout time, the whole thing about Tau Overwatch has been essentially this rule, but in a brutal way. Like, it's just, if you can't make it to them, you're going to get hosed. And that's how they defend themselves, because they're really terrible in close combat. That's always been kind of the back and forth. So it still exists here right now, but the extra wording of units that do this may not fire Overwatch again in this turn is brutal. Don't let me, rain on your parade too much, Tau players. It's still good. You can still sync up and just make damn sure that more scary unit doesn't make it in, or whoever's going to tie you up, I guess. And there are stratagems, I believe, to do your Overwatch on a 5+, if not maybe even higher. We'll take a look in the stratagem section. So that's pretty good. I mean, they won't make it to you. Master of War. So this is the other thing that you guys get access to. Make sure I got... There it is. Okay, we got rid of the glare a little bit. Once per battle at the beginning of your turn, a single commander from your army can declare either Kaon or Montka. Am I saying that correctly? Even close? I hope so. Kaon, I think. Until the end of this turn, you can reroll failed hit rolls for friendly Cept units within 6 inches of the commander, but these units cannot move for any reason. And then Montka, anybody within 6 can both advance and shoot as if they haven't moved this turn. Montka and that rule is all over the place. It seems to be pretty all over for the Necrons as well, coming up here pretty soon. Kaon, I'm butchering it, I'm sure of it, but that is the far and away more exciting one. A lot of Tau wants to come down and kick somebody in the nether regions, and this is going to allow you to do that. So people are using it with commander. Well, it's off of a commander, but a commander that's behind a unit of 5 or 6 crisis suits. And it just says Cept units, so you can kind of use your imagination there. It doesn't limit it to infantry. It doesn't say suits, nothing like that. Kaon, yeah, I don't know, man. Araxis, I'm just out here trying. I think it's something like that. So you can, it's pretty amazing. You only get one of those, but there's a couple warlord traits and stuff like that where you get to declare another one, I think. There is the ability to do it again, but mostly it's just drop down, kill as much stuff as you can, and then don't die, is the hope. Alright. And then the left side here, which I went to the more exciting part, it's just explaining that Septs is the key word. So there's different Septs that have different overarching rules for themselves. It's the same as anything else in 8th. You want to keep those detachments different. For you Tau players, you're going to want to paint or mark them separately, which is, I think you're feeling my pain. When they came out with the different high fleets for my Tyranids, my whole army is painted the same way. So I just run, I personally, my choice was I just run one high fleet at a time. I'm not going to mark bases, I'm not going to repaint my army, that kind of stuff. And then they talk about accompanying drones, which is an interesting thing to kind of dive into there. I keep saying dive into, but maybe that works with Tau. So in 7th, for the most part, drones were called gear. They didn't give up kill points. They weren't targetable. Of course, there were units of drones that you could target that weren't war gear, but the ones that came with commanders, or it was a marker drone or something like that came with a unit, were just ablative. And they didn't score and stuff like that. In 8th, they do score, they are units, but I think, to me, the worst part is they give up kill points like there's no tomorrow, and they can be targeted. So a lot of times, if I'm looking at a suit or something like that that's got 2 shield drones next to it, I will just target the shield drones first, because they're just tough 4, kill them, and then target the suit, as opposed to giving the Tau player the choice to be like, well, I'm going to take... That one got through my tougher defenses, so I'm going to take it out on the shield drone. Alright, so first up is Commander Shadowsun. There's that stat line. Trying to find a good... Yeah, that's pretty good. So Shadowsun's thing is that I like quite a bit. If you look down here, Genius of Kaon. Once per battle, Commander Shadowsun can declare Kaon, even if Kaon or Modka has already been declared. So he gets that extra one. He himself is not in a suit or something like that. He does have 5 wounds, and he is tough 4, which is a little bit of a nice step up there. The 3+ save, but you're still going to be kind of seeing Shadowsun, in the back lines with a bunch of breachers or something like that. He's going to be one of the characters. His gun is pretty cool. It's a fusion blaster. Just assault 1, but strength 8, -4 d6 damage. And then it's Melta, so you roll 2d6 and discard the lowest if they're at half distance, so 9 inches away. And he's got a bunch of buffing abilities down here. So you can nominate a friendly unit within 10, 12, reroll hit rolls of 1 for that unit until the end of the phase. It's like a free marker light. It talks a little bit about his drones for some reason. Oh, he's got a 3+ invul save shield drones as well. Yeah, it's a little bit more survivable. He has Savior Protocol as well. You know what? Is he in a suit? Is Shadowsun in a suit? Did I just misspeak? He's like in a pseudo suit, isn't he? Yeah, it says down here. No, he is in a suit. My bad. I've already lost all my Tau players. So I'm out of here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Under rules, you can see he's got Jetpack, Fly, Shadowsun for his keywords, Battlesuit. Never mind. He's a little bit tougher. I still don't know that I would use Shadowsun super aggressively. I'm trying to think. I guess the extra Montka or Kaon is really nice. Or Kaon, excuse me. He actually, it's only that one that he gets to do the extra one. It is quite nice. Cool model. It's got fusion. I don't know though. The thing is, when we get to the commander page, they're just so, you can put a lot of DACA on them. A lot. Still, you only get 3, but they pack a wallop. So when you take the name character, you're really looking at the buffs they give, and you're determining whether or not that is enough. He can infiltrate, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think in past games where I faced Commander Shadowsun where I'm just like, how did they use this commander? And how does it change into 8th edition? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Commander Farsight is my more favorite one. I just love this guy. The Rebel. All right, let me get this into focus for you guys. There we go. That's pretty good. High intensity plasma rifle, range 30, rapid fire 1, strength 6, -4, 2 damage. And he's got the Dawn Blade, which is now +3 strength, -4, and D3 damage. That's a lot nicer. So that puts him at strength 8, you guys, with weapon skill 2. So it's kind of a funny thing. I've always found, I think part of the reason I like Farsight is because he's so cheeky. He's got a 4+ invul save, but it's just so funny because, like, it's basically him. It is really only him. The Tau don't have a dedicated close combat unit or anything like that. They don't. That's not their bag. But then out of the complete left field comes Commander Farsight, who's like actually pretty damn decent in close combat. And I've had some really funny games back in 7th edition where he was just right behind the crisis bomb, or he's somewhere in the back lines, and I'm like, excuse me, what does he do? Well, he's still got a lot of that. So he's the genius of Montka. Once per battle, Commander Farsight can declare Montka, even if Kaon or Montka has already been declared. So he's got the same ability, but on the other side. Way of the Short Blade, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Farsight Enclave units within 6 inches of Commander Farsight in the fight phase, or any phase if the target is an orc. Ugh. Such a funny stipulation. If that was just reroll 1s, which is what all the Imperial, lieutenants and commanders give and stuff like that, that would be great. In the fight phase. In the fight phase. Who the heck, like, what? In what world? I mean, it's cool for him. That's what it is. He's weapon skill 2. You'll take it as like a, obviously. You'll remember that when something charges into your lines, but with your terrible Tau close combat, you're like, okay, I'm rerolling 1s. So that's just kind of silly. I mean, he's got Manta Strike, excuse me. So when they say Manta Strike, which I think is so cool too, that's the Manta up over the world that you're fighting on, and that just means they get the deep strike, basically. So pretty cool. I do see Farsight getting used because he is pretty darn decent in close combat, and he still has good shooting. He's survivable, 3+ save, 6 wounds, tough 5. In the top tier competitive list, do I see you guys using Commander Farsight? I don't think so. I think for very similar points, you're just going to go with your own personal setup of a Cold Star commander or just a commander, which is where we go now. There's 3 suits. There's the commander in a crisis suit. It's your basic commander. They didn't change that much on this level. A lot of the weapons got cheaper, and we'll take a look at that in the back of the Codex, which is nice. So I'm not sure if the overall price of a commander went down, but I have to assume it did. Or maybe it didn't. These guys pack all the DACA. They've got the character keyword. They can deep strike in. And they can go to town. They're really good. Let's go 2+, which is like the big thing. That's why there's so many commanders out there right now. A lot of Tau suffers from pretty bad ballistic skill, but the commanders absolutely do not. And now we have the commander in a Enforcer Battlesuit. And that's where I have to admit to you, I don't know what that is. An V85 Enforcer. Still has fly, still has jetpack. The save isn't much better. 1 more wound I'm seeing, so 6 wounds versus 5. Still tough 5, still strength 5. Movement 8 inches. You get some different guns here. You get burst. Nope, actually it's the same. Never mind. And then this is what I think might be actually coming up and making a little bit of a splash here in 8th edition, is the Commander in the Cold Star Battlesuit. So same thing, stat-wise. It does have the 6th wound, which is nice. But the Cold Star rule, if you take a look there. When this model advances, add 20 inches to its move characteristic for the movement phase instead of rolling a d6. Whoa. And its movement, if you want to take a look there, is already 20. 40 inches. Now, by itself, you're like, well, yeah, but it just advanced, so surely it can't do much after that. No. All its weapons are assault. And as if that wasn't bad enough, I mean, there's other access to, you know, advancing and still functioning, but I think commanders just straight up don't need it. I know that they can take additional weapons, so maybe some of those weapons aren't assault, but I think they all are. Aren't like all Tau weapons assault? Well, I'll take a look when we get to the back. But this is the way to do it. Now, part of the reason why this is pretty cool, but people were like, wow, there's just going to be 3 fusion commanders and cold stars flying around, blowing up stuff. The reason why that's awesome, but not going to ruin your game, is then all of a sudden you're taking that commander, which is one of the big damage dealers for them, and you're throwing him in the middle of your opponent. So yeah, he'll probably nuke a tank or 5, but then he'll die. So that's why I think the cooler idea behind this that I'm seeing is you'll use him as a normal commander, but then later in the game, where it used to be, oh no, I need to get across the table, and otherwise this commander's just not doing anything for a turn or two, or his threat range is limited. Now he's moving 40 inches and getting closer to that character and obliterating their face, or he's grabbing that objective and shooting off that chafe unit that you didn't think that the Tau player would be able to see because they don't have any assault units or something like that. Well, all of a sudden, this commander's flying around doing that. Or there's something coming up the table that's a threat to the commander. It used to be, you know, Tau infiltrate or deep strikes in, and then they're there, they hit you, and if they didn't hit you hard enough, they die. Well, with the commander, the pretty cool thing about that, and with a fly keyword, is he can fall back out of combat 20 inches or whatever it is and still do stuff. Or if he's not tied up in combat, he can just fly around going 40 inches. So it just gives you a lot more options. And those options would be at a premium, you would think, but the Cold Star Battlesuit is not that much more expensive. We'll have to get to the back of the Codex to take a look at exactly how much it is, but it doesn't cripple you. So there's Anva. This is the Space Pope, if I'm not mistaken. He's got the 2 ethereal guards. Pretty cool. You know, stat line wise, you always look at that for survivability. You're not looking for him to fight anybody. But you then get down into the special rules and you go, is this where I'm going to start taking him? The paradox of duality is really funny, by the way. When this unit is attacked during the shooting phase, it may add rather than subtract the AP of the attack to its save characteristic. -1 attack would provide a +1 bonus to its save. So he's got a 5+ save. If I shoot him with Melta, he goes down to a 1+ save, which obviously, for those of you that don't know, no, you don't get to roll a 1+. But you get a 2+. -3, 2+. So it's kind of funny, because with the 5+ save, that means you want to shoot him with non-AP weapons. Reroll friendly morale on the battlefield. So that's pretty amazing. Whilst he's on the field, you get to reroll morale tests for all friendly Tau Empire units. It doesn't even say friendly Cept. That's pretty powerful. So if you do have your 3 mixed attachments because you want your 3 cold stars, but you want to take advantage of the different chapter tactics you can basically get with all of them, then this is your guy that just says everyone rerolls. So that's nice. It's not fearless, but it's amazing. In your Tau, he's got Grand Invocation of the Elements. In your movement phase, Envoy may invoke up to 2 elemental powers. Within 6 inches. So 1 is subtract 1 from any morale test made for affected units. That's the Calm of Tides. Storm of Fire. Reroll hit rolls of 1 in the shooting phase for affected units that remain stationary in the movement phase. Okay. Sense of Stone. Whenever a model in an affected unit loses a wound, roll a d6 on a 6. That model does not lose that wound. Zephyr's Grace. Or Zephyr's Grace. You can reroll the dice for affected units when they advance. You can reroll the dice for affected units when they advance. I mean, so that's, you know, there's been a few of these things where I look at it and I'm like, what do we get really excited about? The reroll morale is very powerful. That's awesome. His survivability, okay. He could be a cheaper HQ choice, so that's okay as well. The reroll 1s is all right. It's like the poor man's marker light, so you don't have to. The thing is, the way marker lights work in 8, though, is whatever you paint, it doesn't go away. It's not like you pick it up and spin it like we used to in 7th. It's instead just that unit's marked, so everyone gets reroll 1s against that kind of thing. So it's okay. But the subtract 1 from any morale test made is like, the nice thing about this is there is some synergy for Envoy. Like, he's supposed to be in the back lines behind your fire, or your guys. He's not out in the field helping out the heavy hitters. So it's that's what these ideas are supposed to be. So he makes it your back lines more stable. Okay, that's pretty cool. Then there's An-Shi, which is kind of funny. He's like an ethereal who wants to fight. He's weapon skill 2+, 5 wounds, strength. Wait for it. 3, but his sword does give him +2, AP dash, damage 1. He doesn't have a save, but does he have a... Well, anyway, he's got a 4+ invul. There you go. Anybody within 6 may use his leadership, which is 9. At the beginning of each fight phase, choose one of the following effects for it to last until the end of the phase. Close combat attacks have AP -2. Reroll failed invulnerable saves for An-Shi. So that's kind of cool. A 4+ rerollable. Yeah, that's pretty sick. On a tough 3 model. Oh. Is anyone... Anyways, all right. So Invocation of the Elements. I think it's the same thing. Yeah. Yep, it's exactly the same thing. Is anybody going to take An-Shi? Anybody? I don't think so. In your league game, in your fluffy game, you got your buddy over, you're playing a game. All right, I can see that. If you're traveling any distance at all, and you're hoping to win the majority of your games at a tournament, are you taking An-Shi? No, you're not. To be honest, are you taking Envoy? Probably not. I think the leadership bubble of just a normal ethereal, which we're getting to over here, is better. And this is where my criticism would come in. I would think the Invocation of the Elements needs to be more powerful to make those options a sexier pick, is what I would say. I really feel like nobody's like, I'm sorry, what does Envoy do? And they're like, well, listen here. If I do the Storm of Fire, I get to reroll hits of 1 in the shooting phase for affected units that remain stationary in the movement phase. I mean, come on. Those kind of rules are everywhere, and they're like there's even less restrictive language. Like all the Space Marine characters and stuff like that, they don't care if you moved or not. In fact, they encourage you not to move, or to move, excuse me. You get to reroll 1s if you're just within the area of these guys that oftentimes have jump packs, so they deep struck in. So it's just a little bit, it's like, why are we playing, why is he tepid, you know? At least with Envoy, the reroll morale test for all units on the table, that starts to get into the area of like, all right, I got the Space Pope, I'm feeling it. But An-Shi, Master of the Blade. His sword, strength 5, 5 attacks, becomes -2, 1 damage each. So he can like almost kill a character. Almost. So the Ethereal. Tough 3, like we've been saying. It also has Invocation of the Elements. It also has the Leadership Bubble. Doesn't get any other of the other sexy abilities. Its 5+ save is there. And it doesn't have an invul save. So it's the pretty typical squishy Ethereal. Let me get this up here for you guys. Stat line. But it's your cheap HQ, and I think you are and do want to be taking 2 to 3 battalions as a Tau player, so you can have access to those 3 commanders, at least 2. So you're going to be filling out those HQ slots within my mind, maybe an Ethereal or 2, depending on how many detachments you go for. They're cheap. They are characters. They do give a little bit of an aura buff to that back line, so it's not like they're terrible. But the named characters, I'm just falling over here, just like, why? What are we doing with this? Cadre Fireblade. Bliss skill 2+, so that's nice. I believe they can take a Marker Light. Yep, they have a Marker Light. So you're looking at a 2+ Marker Light right there. That's almost reason enough to take them. Photon Grenade. This weapon does not inflict any damage. Your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for infantry units that have suffered any hits from photon grenades till the end of the turn. It's range 12. So at first glance, you look at that, and you know, a lot of us, where we immediately take these kind of things, is like, well, can I be offensive with it? No, not really. But what I like about that is, again, Tau are looking for ways to just survive a little bit longer when things get close to them, and this is one of the ways you can do that. So this kind of character in the backfield is giving you that Marker Light reliably on that 2+, and then he's tossing out a grenade that makes it -1 for them to hit. So Bloodletters, if you've got 19 or 20 Bloodletters deep striking in, they're 9 inches away, they're coming after you. Well, hang on. This Photon Grenade to the face makes it less likely they do as much damage. Now, of course, whatever they hit in Tau is probably going to die anyways, but maybe in your front line is a Riptide or something more survivable. He's going to become a lot more survivable when they're -1 to hit. His abilities is Volley Fire. Models in Cept units within 6 of any friendly Cept Cadre Fireblades may fire an extra shot with pulse pistols, pulse carbines, and pulse rifles when shooting at a target within half of the weapon's range. So that's that. It's just double down on that. So you can have like Dark Strider, which we'll get to here in a second, and Cadre Fireblade together behind a line of breachers or fire warriors with these kind of weapons, and all of a sudden the kill power of this otherwise ablative, you know, troop choice goes kind of through the roof. Let's take a look at Dark Strider. One of the coolest, I think. He's always been one of the coolest. So he's Bliss skill 2+ as well, and he also has a Marker Light. So now with these 2 characters, again, perhaps filling out your HQ slots and a couple of detachments, you're looking at 2 guys putting out 2 Marker Lights on 2+. Not survivable themselves, of course, but that's not why you get them. And he also has a Photon Grenade. You know what's interesting? Ooh. It must stack. The Photon Grenades must stack. Your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for infantry units that have suffered any hits from Photon Grenades. No! Games Workshop, why? They don't stack. They don't stack. Your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for infantry units that have suffered any hits from Photon Grenades until the end of the turn. Give him the stack. I think that would be so cool, right? You're going into the soft underbelly of the Tau. You've dealt with the suits. You've got a Riptide that's just out of reach. You're like, all right, let's get on top of Dark Strider and Cadre Fireblade and these troops here, and let's really show them the power of the Emperor. Then they toss out these 2 grenades and you're -2 to hit, and you're not doing much. I don't know. As you hear me talk more and more about Warhammer, you're going to hear me say stuff that is very much so in favor of defensive abilities in this edition. I really liked the survivability of things in 7th. I know that wasn't everybody's favorite thing, but and by the way, in 8th it's getting better. There's more ways to be defensive, which is nice. With every Codex release, stratagems and units are, you know, definitely fulfilling the role of like, I'm going to survive. But come on, let them stack. Structural Analyzer. This is his rule that's always been there. It is essential. Well, I'll just read it, I guess. In your shooting phase, pick a friendly Tau Cept infantry unit within 6 inches of Dark Strider and pick an enemy unit that is visible to Dark Strider. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to wound rolls for the friendly Tau Cept infantry units that attacks that target. The enemy units attacks that target the enemy unit you picked. Let's look at the wording of this. In your shooting phase, pick a friendly Tau Cept infantry unit within 6 of Dark Strider. And pick an enemy unit that is visible to Dark Strider. Until the end of this phase, add 1 to wound rolls made for the friendly Tau Cept infantry units attacks that target the enemy until you pick. So it's just 1. I don't know if it's always been just 1. I think it used to be a bubble in 7th. I think here is where, again, you unchain the dogs of war and just say, no, make it a bubble. Everybody within 6 of Dark Strider. +1 to wound. Why not? Why not? Who's the Blood Angel guy that everybody within 6 gets an additional +1 to wound? It's like the golden ancient dude or whatever. Imagine if it's just, just pick a unit. I'm talking out of the side of my mouth, though. Maybe it's just pick a unit. But anyways, I'm just, give it to him. We're talking about Fire Warriors here. If somebody wants to deliver in a transport, 45 dudes in Dark Strider, and they're like, this is it. They all get +1 to wound. They're strength 5 guns, so it's, very often they're wounding on 4s, now 3, or excuse me, they're wounding on 3s, now 2s. So it can get out of hand, but it's still a single damage AP nothing gun. I'm okay with it. I'll tell you what, guys, if Games Workshop ever makes me someone that gives them advice on rules and stuff, I'm out there representing the Tau, saying let the Photon Grenade stack, let the carbines from Dark Strider all benefit. All right, now here's Long Strike. Someone that made his way into competitive play as well, in the index for Tau. It wasn't entirely uncommon to see him out there dropping bows on people. His gunship has 13 wounds, 3+ save, tough 7. It's really nice. He's Bliss skill 2. No marker light for him or his tank. His tank is all about hurting people and doing bad things to him. You got a burst cannon. So what does it come with, by the way? It comes with a railgun. Wait, what? Is it just a railgun? Oh, here we go. Couple of is accompanied by 2 MV1 gun drones, each equipped with 2 pulse carbines. Only one of this unit can be included in your army. Warrior options: Long Strike's gunship may replace the railgun with an ion cannon. Long Strike's gunship may take up to 2 seeker missiles. Instead of being accompanied by 2 MV1 gun drones, Long Strike's gunship can take 2 burst cannons or 2 smart missiles. So that's the more common way to do it. I don't typically see them taking gun drones. The gun drones are short range and the tank is mega long range, so it's like a kind of a weird synergy there. Of course, you can just take ablative wounds on the drones, but you can do that anyways with other drones. You don't need to take dedicated drones to something in 8th edition, which is something I really like, actually. I think that was smart. Let me get this up here. So the ion cannon, standard, 6, range 60, heavy 3, strength 7, -2, 2 damage. Overcharge it, range 60, heavy D6, strength 8, -2, 3 damage. -2? No, man. Let's talk about the railgun. Those drones are attached to the tank. Yeah, you're right. They're little guys. I think they can come off, though, can't they? Or it's modeled that they can come off. I don't know. Anyways, the point is I would still go with the weapon systems on it. Unless they're more expensive, I guess. Solid shot on the railgun. Range 72, heavy 1, strength 10, -4, D6 damage. Each time you make a wound roll of a 6+ for this weapon, the target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to the normal damage. Pretty cool. But give it D3 shots. D3, absolutely. This to me is a as well. I know what they're going for. D6 damage is nice, but anyone that's playing this game on a competitive level at all knows that D6 is a funny thing. It's got that potential for the 5 or 6, and that's why it's sexy. But more often than not, you want that D6 spammable, of course, right? This is a tournament player talking here. But when a unit only has the 1 shot in strength, 10's nice, -4 is nice, D6 is nice, and on a 6+ D3 mortal, yeah, that's pretty good. But as a single shot attack, yes, he's Bliss skill 2, so you're hitting quite often, and that's pretty awesome. But there's just what are you shooting with that? What are you shooting with that? So a lot of times you're hoping to hit some big guy, but the big guys have a 4++, or they have a 3++, if it's Magnus or Mortarion. I don't know, man. I want, if it was D3 shots, you would see this out there. That is scary. That would be cool. The submunition shot, heavy D6, strength 6, -1, 1 damage. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, Smart missile system, so you'll see that as well. That's the old SMS. Strength 5, 4 shots, doesn't need line of sight. That's pretty cool. The no AP to it is a little bit of a buzzkill, because they used to ignore cover. It says it still does. Cool. So they still do. I want to talk about seeker missiles. I think they're really interesting. So you're going to see seeker missiles throughout the Codex. And it is, for each seeker missile can only be used once per battle. This weapon only hits on a roll of a 6, regardless of the firing model's ballistic skill or any modifiers. I believe it's marker lights that at 5. I'm going to even skip ahead here because I want to confirm this right now. I believe when you have something painted with 5 marker lights, they hit at the user's ballistic skill. Which is so funny to me. It's good. It's good at that time, because a lot of the times the things that have seeker missiles have high ballistic skill. I can't... Oh, there it is. Two marker lights. Destroyer and seeker missiles fired at this unit use the firing model's ballistic skill and any modifiers rather than only hitting on 6s. So that's... I kind of like that. I kind of like... because a seeker missile is strength 8 -2 D6 damage, range 72. It does need line of sight though, but still, it can go across the table. It's pretty cool. I like that. And remember in 8th edition, so if something has 2 seeker missiles, which a lot of things can take, I believe, yeah. So long-range gunship may take up to 2 seeker missiles. So you don't only have to fire them once. Well, each missile is only 1 fire, but you don't have to fire 1 per turn. Potentially in 1 turn, you could be like, oh my god, it's Mortarion! 2 seeker missiles! And the big shot. That's a lot. That's 2 strength 8 -2 D6 damage shots, and that's 1 strength 10 -4 D6 damage shots. So then it starts to become scary. Now, of course, it loses the missile, so it never gets to do that again. And it's hitting him on a 2+. So I start to like the synergy there. But I'm telling you, man, that the heavy railgun should be D3 shots. That's right in a lot. That's not overpowered. It wouldn't be crazy to say heavy 3 or something like that, but we're not. Let's not even say heavy 3. Let's just say heavy D3. The potential to put out those 3 shots. Now all of a sudden you are threatening to do major damage to a vehicle, or a big guy like a Mortarion or Magnus or something like that. But as it is, I don't know, or it needs something. Like its damage needs to be not necessarily mortal, but some kind of special rule that says like the wounds can carry over. So if I'm shooting an infantry squad, I'm not literally killing a single model. I could be killing several. Like if this shoots my Hive Guard unit and it does 3 damage on the D6, it'll kill a single Hive Guard. Boop. And it's like, that's nice. But this is Long Strike. This is the tank. I don't know. I'm bemoaning this a little bit too much, I think. But I would have liked it to have been a little bit more scary. Attached drones is what someone in the chat was talking about. Drones are attached and are treated as being embarked whilst the drones remain attached. Long-range gunship is considered to be equipped with their weapons in addition to its own. But I believe they can come off, which is kind of cool. Tank Ace, you can add 1 to wound rolls for Long Strike's gunship when it shoots at vehicles or monsters. So that's nice. Now you're wounding Mortarion on a 2+. That's all good. That's not the problem. So it'll be consistently hitting them, consistently wounding them. It's great with the Seeker missiles, by the way. But they still get their 4++, and you're still rolling a d6. So if you roll that 1 or 2, wow! You did 1 damage. You know, it's like, whoa. Even like the Onagers, right, for Adeptus Mechanicus, they have a rule on their big scary neutron laser that any wound roll of less than 3 counts as 3. Love it! Love it! Brilliant! And I wouldn't want that rule rampantly across a Codex, because that would be lame. That's the fun RNG of the game. But Long Strike? Give it to him! Give it to him! Hover tanks just kind of specifies where you measure for it. Long Strike's gunship treats the number of marker light counters on an enemy unit affected by the marker light's ability as being 1 higher. So you put 1 marker light on something, and your Seeker missiles are now hitting on 2+. He explodes, as is standard. Firecast Exemplar. You can add 1 to hit rolls in the shooting phase for friendly Tau Cept Hammerhead gunships within 6. There you go. So that's why you could see Long Strike. Now you're starting to talk about several tanks shooting several railguns next to him. And he's giving them the add 1 to hit rolls, which is very valuable in a Tau Codex. Excuse me. So that's good. He's got Savior Protocols, which is important as well. Great. It's pretty good. You know, I'm bemoaning that it probably should be D3 on the railgun, but all of a sudden you've got Long Strike and 2 other hammerheads shooting 3 railguns, some Seeker missiles you can lop off there as well. His are obviously hitting a lot harder, but with a couple of marker lights on something, you're pretty reliably putting down big monsters. So you still do get access to what it is you want. It's just, you know, Ethereal Jeff over here, Big Papa Tau fanboy Jeff, he's telling you, I wish it was D3, and I wish those Photon Grenades could stack. Make Photon Grenades great again. Tau Cept only? Let me check that for you, Phoenix. You can add 1 to hit rolls in the shooting phase for friendly Tau Cept Hammerhead gunships. It actually, you know what, to your point, it's kind of interesting. I'll show you exactly what it says. So it doesn't have them in brackets. So it could be from a different detachment. That's kind of interesting. It's unrestrictive. They have to be Tau hammerheads, okay? As opposed to what hammerheads? Reactor team. These are going to be some of your pretty basic troops here. Got the standard ballistic skill 4+, tough 3. Yeah, it's your troop guys. I like the Pulse Blaster, but it doesn't synergize very well with a lot of the other auras we were talking about. So at 5 inches is Assault 2, Strength 6, -2, 1 damage. Cool. 10 inches, Strength 5, -1, 1 damage. The nice thing about that is that -1. And then at Strength, range 15, excuse me, it becomes Assault 2, 4, no AP, 1 damage. It's alright. I personally don't think I would ever take Breacher teams, just because I like the Pulse Carbine synergy that you get with like Dark Strider and some of these other guys. I will be looking at comments, by the way, guys, at the end of this, and we can definitely have a discussion. So I'm going to kind of keep it to just talking about this and blathering on, and then we'll get there. So like I was saying, I like the strike teams. They don't get, I'll go over here. Just standard. They didn't change them at all. There's that Photon Grenade. I'm okay with it, by the way. I am so okay with this. Have their grenades stack with the characters. Have you get to that back line and have 5 of those guys chuck grenades at you. You still got to hit them you got to hit them in the range 12. I don't know if you really want to get, no more than 2 or no more to than -2 or something. But give him -2. That's what I'm saying. Okay, we got some angry people in the chat here. Hang on, you guys. We'll talk. We'll come together. We're gonna have a moment. I'm just looking at the other stuff here. I don't think there's anything really to share with you guys. If you have specific questions on these pages, because I'm kind of going fast through this, let me know. Croute Carnivores, Shapers, and Croute Riders. This is actually where I think we're going to get a lot of pretty cool stuff. So Croute Carnivores. The unit can go up to 20. That's an important thing to see there. Their movement's 7. Let's go 4+, web skill 3+, strength 3, tough 3, wound 1, attack 1, leadership 6, and only a 6+ save. I believe they're only 4 points. We'll take a look at that in the back of the book when we get there. Special abilities. At the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, you can move this unit up to 7 inches. It cannot end this move within 9 of the enemy models. If both players have units that are able to move at the start of the first battle round, but before the first battle, player is taking the first turn moves their units first. So this is a scout move from 7th edition, basically. And that's really nice, because what you're going to want to use these Croute guys for is to create those buffers, those screens. And now you're pushing that screen further out. You're getting to those objectives that weren't meant to be on, or you're getting closer to them at least. You're blocking outflank positions. You're pushing back bubbles. You can do other cute things as well. You can deploy them. Your opponent thinks there's all these Croute in his face, and you go, hang on 1 second. You move back 7 inches, and all of a sudden you've given him a little bit of a loop-de-loo as well. It's not game breaking or changing, but on a very cheap unit that you probably should take just to screen yourself. They have range 24, strength 4 guns, by the way, as well. That's not bad. You know, it's a bolter. It's rapid fire 1 too. So there is some stuff here where you can kind of look at that and go, I talked to a lot of people who have 60, 80 Croute. This is one of your cheapest troops too. So again, if you're doing 2 or 3 battalions, you're gonna want to have at least 20 Croute in there, in 2 blocks of 10 or a single block of 20. I don't know, however you want to mix it up. But they are going to be that screen. They're going to push back deep strikers. They're going to give you a little bit extra time to shoot shit up. And they actually have an okay punch. Like, guys, my Termagants have weapons like that, but they're range 12. Same ballistic skill, less movement, and they're not strength 4 in melee, which the gun gives them strength 4 in melee as well. That's pretty cool. That's a damn good troop. And if anyone's looking at that and they're like, no, it could have been. No, stop. Don't. You're happy. That's good. That's a good trooper right there. Croute Shaper. Same thing. All Croute die if you shoot at them, by the way. There's 6-up save. In 7th edition, they actually didn't have a save, so you had to put them in cover for anything to happen. These guys get access to the pulse rifle. Okay. Is this like a sergeant? Yeah, it's a sergeant. It's a sergeant, isn't it? Oh, it's a character. Oh, okay. Reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Croute within 6. Alright. Wisest of their kind. Croute units within 6 of a friendly Croute Shaper may use the Shaper's leadership characteristic. Yeah, it's a sergeant. But it's got the character roll, so it's slightly better than that, but I don't know how much it costs. I'll have to take a look at that in the back. But the reroll wound rolls of 1's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know that you would take this. Is it HQ? It's not even HQ, is it? No, it's not. So never mind. I don't think you would take it. I wouldn't personally, but we'll see. And then Croute Rider. Some people have this. This is really funny. Let's get that on screen. Look at the Croute gun. Rapid fire 1, range 48, strength 7, -1 D3 damage. What? What a completely random gun. It's a cool model. It's tough 5, 4 wounds, 6-up save, go on. So we'll have to look at the cost of it, but in what are we doing? Like what? I mean, let's see, the Shaper, yeah, friendly Croute, so you can reroll those 1s to wound. Range 48 is sick. Rapid fire 1, so at range 24 it's 2 shots. Strength 7, -1 D3. Ballistical 4+, though. I don't know. You know? Agile Brute. When this unit advances, adds 6 to its movement for the movement phase. It's a rapid fire gun, so then it couldn't shoot. That's my sound. We'll make that a sound bite, probably. Stealth suits. I think this is actually... I mean, no surprise, it's one of the best units in the Codex, as is usual. Normal stat line, you got your fusion blasters, you got your burst cannon. Ballistical, is that 4+? I know a lot of people are hoping that in the Codex that you'd get more of that change. You don't. But here it is. Camouflage fields. Your opponents must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for attacks that target this unit. Oh, that's not the price. We're looking at stealth right now. Yep, standard. I do like the homing beacon. A homing beacon may be used at the start of your movement phase by placing it within 1 inch of unit. If there are any friendly homing beacons on the battlefield at the end of your turn, end of your movement phase, excuse me, one of your Cept units that has been set up in a Manta hold, which is deep striking, can perform a low altitude drop instead of a Manta strike. Set up the unit wholly within 6 of the homing beacon. The homing beacon then shorts out and is removed from the battlefield. Homing beacons are deactivated and removed from the battlefield if an enemy model ends a move within 9 inches of it. So a lot of rules there, but essentially, you can get these guys. You can get some guys pretty close here. What's kind of weird about this, though? All right, so this is a weird. If an enemy model ends a move within 9 inches of it, it deactivates and disappears. So the way I read this is you can put people inside of 9 against them because they haven't ended their movement within 9 of this. Right? If they're just deployed there, or if they're just standing there and you drop on top of them and drop the beacon or something like that. But if they move the beacon over and you haven't used it, it just disappears. I don't know. It's okay. The idea behind this is that you can bring in stuff closer, so you don't get buffered out as much. So if their screen unit would otherwise mean that you're now more than 9 away, this allows you to get inside of that. So that's kind of cool for like flamers and stuff and various different weapons that want to be closer. It's okay. Do they come equipped with that? Each model is equipped with a burst cannon. This unit may be accompanied by any 2 type, but this is just a rule. I think they just have homing beacons, right? I believe that's the case. I think so. Okay, so stealth suit's pretty good. I like them. I'm gonna give my more overarching thoughts at the end, I think. But for right now, let's just, you know, they're there. They're good. Crisis suits. This is what I was saying. I think these guys are some of the best in the Codex, as per usual. For the most part, the rules didn't change, guys. It's from what I can tell. You can start screaming at me if I'm completely wrong, but it's the same. Same weapons, all that kind of stuff. The big thing for them is their stratagems, and then the synergy they have with some of the other things going on is amazing, absolutely amazing. There's a stratagem where a unit, and crisis suits are kind of where you want to go because you can go up to 9 in a unit. So there's that crisis bomb we've been talking about. You can make them -1 to hit. You can make them +1 to wound, I think it is. We'll take a look in the back. Really good stuff. Crisis Bodyguards. Wah, wah, wah. I don't know. Roll a d6 each time a friendly character loses a wound whilst they are within 3 of this unit. On a 2+, a model from this unit can intercept that hit. The character does not lose a wound, but this unit suffers a mortal wound. You just take drones. You would just take drones. It's the same rule. Tell me if I'm missing something. I mean, you can give these guys weapons and stuff, but so we'll look at the cost if it makes more sense there. Farsight Marksman. This is one of the most underrated things in the entire damn codex. Look at the keywords. Character. They're cheap. They're Blitzskill 3+. They give you that marker light. I think the unfortunate thing is that they're elites. So I guess if you're filling out like a brigade, you can start to see this as something kind of cool. But if they were troop or... I mean, troop doesn't make a lot of sense, but they're characters. So the cool thing about this is they're cheap and you can put them in a spot so it zones out things. They have long range on that marker light. Longish, 36. And then they don't get shot for a long time. So Paul McKelvey, one of my good buddies, one of the best tile players there are, uses a few of these guys. So take a look at them. They add 1 to hit rolls for sniper drones. Sniper drones are okay. And sniper is... Oh, it's in such an interesting place in 8th edition. I think sniper's really good. Nobody else seems to agree with me. I've just had so many times where a guy's like, I have 3 scout units with snipers. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And he's like, yeah. And then he shoots me and does like 7 mortal wounds. I'm like, oh, that was really good. He's like, I do that all the time. Now over to the Ghost Keel. Oop. Ghost Keel's still pretty good. Electro Warfare Suite. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls for models attacking this model more than 6 away. Make it -2, in my opinion. Make it -2. Give them a native -1, and then it's -2 if they're 12 away. Let's compromise. Can take drones. That's kind of the whole bottom down there. Stealth drones as well. Stealth drones are like, do they do something cool? No. They just take wounds. Oh, hang on. Never mind. Whoops. I was wrong. I should have read this a little bit better. Stealth Field. So this is what the drones do, and this is why they're better. Models shooting at stealth drone or a Ghost Kill battlesuit within 3 inches of any friendly stealth drone subtract... Wait, what? I think it's as long as they are within 3 inches of each other. Subtract 1 from their hit rolls. This is cumulative with a Ghost Kill Electro Warfare Suite ability. So, yes, it is -2. The reason this is a little bit poopy is the stealth drones are targetable. I believe they were in 7th as well, if I'm not mistaken, but they were like... Was it minus to hit? No, it was they had a 2+ cover save is what it was. So it was like, yeah, go ahead and shoot them. But unless you had ignore cover, they were just going to stand there forever. Okay, so it does have the -2. That's cool. As long as the drones are alive, it's got the -2, and you're 6 inches or more away from him. 10 wounds on a Ghost Kill these days, though. Tough 6, strength 6. Movement 12 inches, so it's very mobile. It's hard to hit. And then it's got the DACA. You can do the Cyclic Ion Raker. Heavy 6 if you want. The heavy is so problematic, though. Do they have drone? What is the rule? No, I'm not seeing it. Some of these... Oh, it's locked or something like that? Target locked? Is that what I'm thinking? Is the rule target lock a model with the target? It's not so penalty to their hit rolls for moving and firing heavy weapons. Yeah. Why? Unless I'm missing something, which I did. I just missed something earlier, but like, give him target lock. I gotta talk to these Tau engineers, right? Like they're designing the suit and they're like, look, let's give it access to a bunch of really cool heavy weapons. And then let's make it so that every time he moves, he's hitting 1 in 3 times. And someone's like, yeah, but what if you have marker lights? Yeah. Then he's hitting on 4s. Riptide Battlesuits. So these guys in the Index were perhaps one of the most nerfed units I've ever seen. They were just completely unplayable in points. And I'm not even lying. I have not seen a single Riptide on the table except for Ravana's and some what are they called? The other one, the 2 Forge World ones. I've only seen those. And I've only ever seen one of those per army. That should tell you something. Hopefully that changes. So I think a base Riptide is 150. We'll take a look in the back when we get there. But they're much more affordable. They're very efficient still. Just because of the sheer amount of stuff you can put on it. Let's look at the Nova Reactor. I like that. In your movement phase, you can choose to use this model's Nova Reactor. If you do, the model suffers a mortal wound. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know it just automatically takes a mortal wound. Wow. Well, it still has its 2+ though. And it's still tough 7, so it's a hard son of a bitch. Nova Shield, this model has a 3+ invulnerable save. Notice how it just says it just has a 3+ invulnerable save. So that means close combat and outside of it. That's great. Boost, this model can move 2d6 in your charge phase. Even if it doesn't declare a charge. That's a weird way to say that. That's such a weird way to say that. This model can move 2d6 in your charge phase. Then in brackets, or in parentheses, it says, even if it doesn't declare a charge. That language to me says it can move 2d6 in the charge phase and then declare a charge. Right? Am I crazy? I feel like you can read it that way. It is just a Riptide, so I don't know in what world you necessarily want to be doing that. It's got 4 attacks, strength 6. No AP, obviously. Its split skill is a whopping 4+. Or no, weapon skill. What am I looking at? Weapon skill is 5+. Yeah, I mean, okay. So I guess you wouldn't necessarily ever want to do that. The way I would do this, and I'm just going to talk about this right now, I would move my 12 inches, Nova Charge, move 2d6 more, declare a charge on some chafe unit or a tank, so you're tying it up after shooting, by the way, because you can still shoot in the shooting phase. And then because you have the fly keyword, you just pull back off of it because you didn't want to be in close combat anyways. You tied up that tank, it's now not shooting you, you pull back, and now you're nuking some stuff. So there's some cool movement mechanics there, and there's some cool things you could potentially do with that. That gives it a little bit more of that feel we had in 7th, where Tau was, you know, jump jetting around, and they were very mobile, and they had some cool stuff there. I could see some sexy stuff being done there. And then Nova Charge, just the last one. Choose for either of this model's heavy burst cannon type to change to heavy 18, or its ion accelerator type, both standard and overcharge, to change to heavy 6. Wow. Heavy burst cannon. Strength 6, -1, 2 damage becomes 18. And then the ion accelerator becomes heavy 6. Oh, because it's otherwise heavy D6, so then it's auto 6. Range 72, strength 8, -3, D3 damage, 6 shots. Oh, but for every roll of a 1, he suffers a mortal wound. If they can fly, then they can deep strike and overcharge. Yeah, that's a good reading of that. You're right. It's got fly. It's got jetpack. So deep strike it in 9 away. Move 2d6. Charge. I think the reason why they're like, you probably won't do that is it doesn't have an invul. Oh, it has a 5+ invul otherwise and a 2-up save. So it's pretty situational, but it's cool. The other Nova Charges are just sexier, I think why they're kind of giving that a little extra oomph. A 3++ is incredible. That's very durable. On a tough 7, 14 wound model with a 2-up save, that's like a super Custodes. And then, of course, changing his weapon into Mega Daka is incredible. The reason why you would see them not doing Nova Charge as much is because every time you roll a 1, he frickin' takes a mortal wound. So the more shots, it's like, oh my god. Specifically only on the Ion Accelerator, by the way. It doesn't do that for the Heavy Burst Cannon, so you are safe there to not kill yourself. Yeah, I like it. I like this. The jetpack keyword does nothing. They cannot Manta Strike? Am I reading that wrong? Oh, okay. Never mind then. You have to have the Manta Strike rule, I guess. Okay. And they... do they have a stratagem? I guess we'll see that in the back, but most of these codexes have access to putting things in Deep Strike. Are we saying that they can't? Huh. But yeah, I still really like this. The Riptide is it's back. It's good. Well, equipped with a heavy burst cannon and 2 smart missile systems, it can be accompanied by up to 2 shield drones as well. That's also sick. Shield drones are sick, man. They're tough 4. They have a feel no pain, I believe. Don't they have a 5+++ or whatever? I think that's pretty cool. Okay. So yeah, I missed some stuff, guys. I apologize. Like I said, Tau is one of the codexes I'll review where you're going to be... There's a lot of you in chat that know a lot more than I do. Absolutely. Pathfinder team, they're a fast attack. I think that's unfortunate. I feel like if they were troop, you would have the codex open up even more so again. Your access to marker lights is basically Pathfinders, a couple of those characters, and then you can take marker drones, of course. But because none of those are troops, it becomes a little bit harder to justify them or to pay for the marker drones because their ballistic skill is so bad. And Pathfinder teams even they're a 4+ as well. So I would have loved it. Let me see if I'm missing something. I would have loved it if they had access to reroll 1s or something. Oh, I guess worth mentioning, the Bonding Knife ritual is every time you roll a 6, you auto pass. That's actually pretty cool. It's cool that it's a 6 and not a 1, because that gives you both sides of the spectrum of leadership. So you usually want to roll low. So if you roll low, you pass anyways in most case scenarios, unless you lost 9 guys out of 20 or something. But then on a 6, which is like the worst roll you could do, it all of a sudden becomes a benefit. So that's cool. They got good leadership stuff throughout the codex, which is intelligent design because the leadership's not fantastic. Most of them are 6. The sergeants are 7. So, you know, Tau would just be picking up all of their small guys otherwise. The Pathfinders, let me show. Yeah, I'm sorry. Page is not in focus or over here. Vanguard, they get that 7-inch movement. Can't be within 9 of enemy model. They can ignore cover if they're next to a recon drone. Yeah, okay. That's your marker light guy. They're so expensive. Oh, okay. We'll have to take a look. Piranhas. One of the big problem childs of 7th. They were just free making drones. Not anymore. They got seeker missiles. How many can they take? 2 seeker missiles. Tau can put out the hurt with seeker missiles, man. Those are D6 damage. They could do it. They need marker lights, but there's all kinds of ways to get marker lights, and it's only 2 marker lights for them to be hitting at their ballistic skill. The kind of sad thing is, on a lot of these, like, would I take seeker missiles on a Piranha? No, I would not. Ballistic skill 4+. You can get access to rerolling 1s. I think you can make them 3+ with enough marker lights. We'll take a look at the marker light chart in a little bit. But that's just too much. Too much if, ands, thens, or buts on something that, you know, it's a one-time use. Threat identification protocols. Their gun drones attached to the Piranhas can only shoot the closest things. Thank you. Alright. I don't think he'll take him. I think a lot of people own him. You won't see him too much. And then here's the tactical drones. So let me just confirm a couple of things here. Wow, I've been talking emphatically for an hour and a half, guys, so I'm losing wind here. We'll continue to perfect this system, but I think I'm being maybe perhaps a little bit too thorough with this, because I plan on talking for like another 25 minutes. Shield generator. Shield drones have a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, roll a d6 each time a drone with this ability loses a wound. On a 5+, that drone does not lose a wound. I think that's really sick. I think that's really good. I know that shield drones cost a little bit more, I believe. So for just pure ablative wounds, you might take gun drones. I don't know. I guess you'd have to look at the cost. The 4++ and a feel no pain is pretty damn good, though, because a lot of times, I mean, it is a mortal wound when you do the essential lookout sir for the drones now, which by the way is on a 2+. They did change that. It's no longer just if there's a drone there, you get to move the wound over. It's on a 2+, so it's still very reliable, but not 100%. Let's just get a look at that right there, because this is the most you're ever going to see of a Vespid. These guys are not the worst thing in the world. Let me just say that. 1 wound, 14-inch movement, that's good. Not the 1 wound, but the 14-inch movement. Ballistical 4+, woo! 4+ save, woo! What do they shoot? Range 18, Assault 2, Strength 5, -2 damage, or -2 AP, excuse me, 1 damage. So they're okay. It's okay. But what are they doing? What are you using Vespid Stingwings for? They're fast attack. They're not even troops. What am I looking at, guys? They got fly. So does everything else in the Codex. They can deep strike, plunge from the sky. So they deep strike in. You got a unit of 4 of them. They're putting out 8 shots, hitting 4 times, wounding 3 or 2. You get the picture. They're only 14 points for their guns. All right. Okay, so that now you got me a little bit interested. I didn't know they're 14 points. So that's like, yeah, okay. So you would use them as swooping hawks, basically. This is your Tau need something that can jump over there and shoot off some guardsmen or space marines on an objective and then hold it. They need to go get Linebreaker. Okay. 14 points is a little bit pricey for a 1 wound tough 4 model that has a 4+ save. So I'm not sitting here going, I was completely wrong just off of that. 14 points is about fair. I think if they were like 10, that'd be way too good. Not to split hairs, but I think 12 is something that I would be more okay with. Because 4 of them is still 52 points, right? No, it's 56 points, excuse me. And that's a min unit of 4 wounds, 4+ save models. So that's the part where I look at that and I tell you, like wrap that around your head for a second. 4+ save, 4 wounds. No, that's not that expensive. Yes, the deep strike is nice, but at Ballistico 4+, they're not even killing what they're shooting at with that. They're not. They're just simply not. If you hit somehow way above average, yeah, -2, 1 damage is pretty good. Strength 5, pretty good. But what are they shooting at with 4 guys that they kill at Ballistico 4+? Nothing. So then you have to get a bigger unit. So now you're talking about like 8 of them, and that's 112 points. Still not that expensive, so that's not the worst thing in the world, but that's 8 wounds at a 4+ save. Guys, that's like a hurricane bolter later, they're gone. Almost. So, you know, I'm sure I'm saying this and there's somebody listening to this right now and they're holding in their hands their 45 favorite Vespid Stingwings and I'm the worst guy in the world. Go win a tournament, prove me wrong. I'll eat the words. I'll eat the crow for sure. Crude Hounds, 12-inch movement, 3+ weapon skill. Get them on the page. 6+ save. I don't know. They're fast attack. Voracious predators. You can reroll failed charge rolls for this unit when targeting a unit that has suffered any unsaved wounds this turn. Thank God, because if they just had reroll charges, broken as shit. There'd be Croute Hounds everywhere. You know what I'm saying? There would just be Croute Hounds up to wazoo. I would have given these guys outflank or something. Why are you taking them? 1 wound, tough 3, 2 attacks. They have -1 AP, but strength literally 3 in close combat. Oh my god. I'm going to do it one more time, guys. I know this is going to... Somebody in the comments is going to say they hate this, but I'm going to do it again. Terrible. Broadside Battlesuits. These guys needed a point reduction. They got it, because they pack a frickin' punch. This is your heavy support. You're going to see broadsides again. They were priced out of use in the index. They are not the cheapest thing, obviously, now, but they are pretty good. So I'm not going to go throughout all of this because the suits are mostly the same. If you have questions, let me know and I can go look it up. But I do like that they have access to the heavy rail rifle, range 60, heavy 2, strength 8, -4, d6 damage. Still with skill 4+, though. They do get the, on a 6+ weapon, the target unit suffers a mortal wound in addition to the normal damage. So not d3, like Long Strike's heavy rail cannon. This is just the rifle. So cool. I like they made it, I think they made it heavy 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was heavy 1, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, unit 3 of these is shooting 6 of those shots. Maybe you painted up something with marker lights. So that's pretty cool. You're starting to get into that DACA range that I like. 5, 6 shots of something at this strength and stuff is better. That's what we're talking about. Would you take the plasma rifle on them? No, you would not, in my opinion. They added the plasma rifle to this codex. Strength 6, -3, 1 damage. That's cool. You'll notice that it doesn't overcharge, and it cannot kill you. Unless I'm missing that somewhere else, but right here it doesn't say that any of that happens, so that's cool. Because it would be amazing if you could kill a broadside, if it could kill itself. So it burns up. Gone. Alright, let's get through this a little bit quicker so we can spend some time with you guys. Because I still, the back of the codex actually, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to mostly just show this. We're approaching 2 hours, guys. I'm too damn talky. Skyray gunship. Sniper drones. Blitzkill 5+ sniper. I mean, they're cheap, so you can take a bunch of them. Would be the idea. And they have a stealth field. Okay. Tau plasma are always that way. That's right, because in the fluff they like figured out how to do that, right? Or something. It's funny, they can't kill themselves with plasma, but every time a Riptide shoots, it takes like 2 wounds, so tell that to the Riptide. All I'm going to say is take a look at the flyers, man. They're pretty good. Again, my buddy Paul McKelvey, he has everything, so I've seen the flyers on the table. I am going through this, guys, pretty quick, and I do apologize if that pisses some of you off. We can get to the questions at the end if someone has it or something like that. Storm Surge. I don't know what to make of this guy. He's got an interesting mix of, like, that's pretty cool. But I feel like this kind of a thing in this edition is a little bit rough. So you can still get that 4++. It starts with a 3+. I get all that. I would have made it tough 8, I think. 20 wounds. Even that's kind of middling. I love its gun. I do like the, where is it? The Pulse Blast Cannon. Heavy 2, Strength 14, -4, 6 damage. Yes! That's Games Workshop laying its gigantic salami on the table and saying, there it is. And I like it. Storm Surge gets up close to you. It's going to put 2 shells into Morty. It's going to do some hurt. Medium range, range 20, heavy 4, strength 12, -2, 4 damage. Still pretty cool. -2 is a big bummer. I would have made that -3. Long range, heavy 6, which is nice. Strength 10, 0 AP, 2 damage. All right. And then the Pulse Driver Cannon is heavy D6, strength 10, -3, D6 damage, which is the other gun. There's the Pulse Blast Cannon and the Pulse Driver. All right. It's just, the stabilizing anchors are bad. This is one of the things I'll look at. Get ready. So in 7th edition, when it dropped its anchors, it shot twice. What does it do now? At the end of your shooting phase, while its anchors are deployed, it may not move for any reason, and it cannot pile in an attack in the fight phase, but you can add 1 to hit rolls. It's hitting on 3+. All its guns are heavy, so obviously they gave it target lock, right? You would think. Looking for it. I'm gonna do you guys a favor. It's not here. It's not there. So this is a gigantic whiff for me. Like, give it target lock or give it some kind of rule. Like, I'd put it under Walking Battleship, which by the way is an awesome name. I would say it doesn't suffer the -1 to hit penalty for firing heavy weapons after moving. Why? Why not give it that? Support systems? Okay, well, look at support systems. But then you're paying for it too, you know? I don't know. You're right though. Hopefully he has access to it. So here's the guns. We talked about that. Okay, so I do want to show the marker light table. It's the same. They swapped 1 and 2, I believe is what they did. Reroll hits a 1. Seeker missiles are ballistical value, which is kind of funny that it's at 2, by the way. I mean, it's good because everyone that has seeker missiles is happy about that, but like, I don't know. 3, the target does not get cover. 4, models attacking this unit do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons or advancing and firing heavy assault weapons. 5 or more, add 1 to hit rolls. The nice thing is, if you have 5 marker lights on something, it's not like you only get the 5th tier, you get all of them. So that was the thing in 7th, was it used to be you have to spin the marker lights, essentially. If something's got 5 marker lights or more on it, which you should never put more on it, you get all this. That's good. You're rerolling 1s, you're at +1 plus skill, you can move and shoot without the -1. It's just, so, I'm going to put this down for a second, because I'm going to rant real quick, but like I said, I've been talking for 2 hours almost now straight, so poor old Jeff is getting to the end of his level here. One of my problems I had with Tyranids in previous editions, they actually really did a great job in 8th, but anytime something has a rule that doesn't feel very cool or sexy or fun and instead feels kind of restrictive, I always, like, I kind of wonder what they were thinking. Like, marker lights are supposed to be really fun, and they are, but to make one of the 5 things you get that if you move, you don't suffer the penalty for your heavy weapons, it's like, it's just kind of like it's, you know, instead of getting someone a gift, you're like, hey, I'm going to choose not to tax you on yesterday's dinner. Like, don't worry about it. Don't pay me back. It's technically a good thing, and you can technically be happy. But it's also kind of like, that's so nice of you, because it's like a sucky thing that I was going to do, and now I don't have to. As opposed to, I would make this, doesn't suffer the penalty for -1. That's my dog. But if it didn't move, gains a +1 to hit, in addition to not suffering the penalty. So how cool would that be? So all of a sudden, now you're incentivized to be like, yo, that unit over there, don't move it, because if I get 5 marker lights on you, not only am I getting the +1 from the marker light, but I'm getting +2 because you didn't move that heavy weapon, and it's all painted up with marker lights. So now you're hitting on a 2+ with a lot of your broadsides and your crisis suits. Does that break the game? No. Frickin' Tau need it, man. All they're doing is shooting. So I don't know. That being said, maybe there's someone from Games Workshop listening right now. They're like, we tested that. It completely broke the game. Jeff, you fool. And I'll be like, all right, okay, fair enough. Because I am just, you know, giving my opinion off the cuff here. All right, so that's that. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's finish this up, guys, and then I'm going to talk with you guys and answer some questions, that kind of thing. The Cept Tenants. So a lot of this has been leaked, so I don't want to spend too terribly much time on this, but we'll just go through it real quick. Cornered fire arc. When a unit with this tenant, but it's, yeah. What are these, by the way? Cept Tenants. If your army is battle forged, all units in the Tau Empire detachment gain a Cept Tenant, so long as every unit in that detachment is from the same Cept. Cept Tenant gain depends upon the Cept they are drawn from, as shown on the table. So as long as you have, it's like High Fleet. So as long as you have a detachment of all of that Cept, you get this rule. Warriors of the Greater Good. I think that's going to be your OBSEC. Yeah, it's just OBSEC. That's good. So if you have the Greater Good, you got OBSEC. It's going to be your troops. Tau Cept Coordinated Fire Arcs. When a unit with this tenant uses their For the Greater Good ability, or when they fire Overwatch, whilst they are within 6 inches of a friendly Tau Cept unit, a 5 or 6 required for successful hit. So keep your eye on that one, because that's Overwatching on a 5+, when you use the Greater Good. And the Greater Good is the Tau Overwatch, the everybody shoots you till you die thing. And that's huge. Hitting on 5s is a big deal. It's funny, and you guys all know dice math, I'm sure, but like 1 and 6 versus 1 and 3 is, you know, it's a very big different set of numbers there. If a unit with Viorla Cept strike fast, if a unit with this tenant, advances, it treats all rapid fire weapons it is armed with as assault weapons until the end of the turn. Fire one weapon. Rapid fire one weapon is treated as an assault one weapon. In addition, models with this tenant do not suffer the penalty to their hit rolls for advancing and firing assault weapons. Okay. Makes them more mobile. You can fall out of combat and light them up. Daleth Cept. Adaptive Camouflage. A unit with this tenant that does not Manta Strike, move, fallback, charge, pile in or consolidate in its turn may claim the benefit of cover in the opponent's subsequent turn, even while in the open. Alright. That's +1 save on stuff, so you got your crisis suits and whatnot getting 2 pluses now. And if someone doesn't ignore cover, that effectively makes them pretty immune to DACA, but it's nice too for things that are like -1, because you would have been, you know, taking 4 ups, now it's 3 ups. It's nice, it's okay. Is it the best of all of these? I don't know. I don't know that it is. Wait a second. Did I misread that? No, it does not say that if they have the fly rule, they don't get this either. So you're talking about some pretty big stuff. So your Riptide is a 1-up save. So any, you know, -1 weapons are now, you're getting your 2-up save anyways, that kind of thing. So there's some cool synergy there. That might be one of the better ones. Sacia Cept, I think is how you would read that. Add 1 to the leadership characteristic of models with this tenant. In addition, in the shooting phase, you can reroll a single failed hit roll when a unit with this tenant shoots. So the +1 to leadership, not why you would take it. The reroll 1 single hit roll, I would have loved if they would have made this like the Salamander, like 1 hit, 1 wound. Is it just hit and wound for Salamanders? I can't remember, but the wound would have been really cool. The hit's all right. It's okay. Models with this tenant, or excuse me, the Borkin. Models with this tenant may add 6 inches to the maximum range of any rapid fire and heavy weapons they are armed with. Pretty cool. Those 36s become 42. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to literally go down and add 6 to everything, but the point is, that's a little bit nicer. The rapid fire, some people were talking about that. They have some decent rapid fire. Like a lot of the rapid fires range 30 already, or 18. So you're that extra 6 inches. Insert penis joke here, obviously. That's for you, Reese. That's for you, buddy. Farsight Enclaves. Devastating counterstrike. Reroll wound rolls of 1 for models with this tenant for shooting attacks against enemy units that are within 6 of the firing model. By far the least exciting of this. But if you are taking Farsight because you have a Farsight tattoo on your buttocks, and you know that he's just one of the coolest guys there are, maybe you make that that whole Cept Tenet the Farsight one, because all of a sudden his fusion blades, I think they are pretty reliably putting the hurting down. And there's some of that going on. You know, there's some of those fusion weapons that you want to be up close to. So rerolling the 1, which, you know, how many times have we seen those Tau commanders be like, all right, anything but a 1, and it just comes out and they're like, ah! It happened for me just very recently. Thankfully, because I'm not a Tau player, so it happened, you know, to the detriment. So I'm just going to show these for the most part, guys. I cannot talk about all this. I'm going to look at it and we'll talk about the highlights. Ignore cover. Situational, but nice. Space Marine's getting a 2-up in cover save. Not no more. That's nice. The nice thing about a lot of these command points is that they're cheap. This is just a way to try and get some wounds out on guys. So it's only on a 6. But like, let's say you get hit by that, you know, 20-man blob of bloodletters. Use this. Damn, actually, is that the way this is? Use the stratagem after an enemy unit successfully charges a battlesuit. Man, it says battlesuit, so I'm thinking Riptide. Like, if a guy charges your Riptide with the bloodletters and stuff like that, absolutely do this. You'll kill 5 of them, or 4. Failsafe detonator, it's kind of funny. You just get to blow up your suit. Kind of sucks that it's a 4+, though. And it's only 1 mortal wound. So it's like, it's very clutch, but, you know, that shield captain kills your commander, and he's got the 1 wound left. It's like, he'll never get me now, and then you blow up your suit. It's the scene from Predator. And Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't get away, and he dies instead. EMP grenade's nice. Oh, it's instead of a photon grenade. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if a knight's getting up in your grill. Automated repair is sick. It's just D3 more wounds. It's 2 command points. It's a little bit pricey, but keeps them fighting. It's pretty good. A little bit glary. Hunting Hounds. Get ready for this, guys. Reroll failed charge rolls for other friendly crew. Wow. Whoa. Okay, over here. Uplink marker light, that's a good one. You just add D3 to it for 1 command point. So that's a nice like end of the game, or you know, maybe your other marker lights completely shat the bed, or you're really trying to paint up a few targets. 1 command point, D3 more. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Oh my god. 1 command point to use 2 Nova Reactor charges off of just the 1. So it's not like you have to take 2 mortal wounds. That's so sick. So you can get that 3++, and you can shoot the DACA. Yes. You will be seeing that one a lot. Maybe even the most. One extra signature system. That's the relic. So signature systems are relics. Wall of Mirrors, a lot of people talking about that. It's kind of weird. It's like a movement thing. It's okay. The old wall of mirrors was like, I get to hit your back armor on vehicles, so it's kind of weird that's being used here. Recon sweep. Movement. Just look at the price of the command points, though. That's the thing that's really smart about this. You're always going to want like 2 or 3 battalions, like I was saying, so you can have those multiple commanders, and you're going to have all these 1-point stratagems. The Orbital Ion Beam. This page is really glossy, by the way, guys. That glare is savage. I'm sorry. That's kind of cool. I think it's better than the Orbital Bombardment that Imperium has. But it's 3 command points. Just deal out some mortal wounds. And the last page for that. So stimulant injector, keep them at highest profile. And then there's focus fire. So it is 3 command points, but that's one of the most powerful stratagems in the Tau Codex. Inflict an unsaved wound, and then everyone gets +1 to wound against it. One of the immediate things people were thinking about, by the way, is split firing. So you like do that unsaved wound, use this command point, and then have your unit shoot half their shots at this, and then like, or 1 shot at this, and then shoot their other shots at some other unit and get +1 to wound. Please don't be that guy. Strike and fade. Oh, it's specifically Daleth. So that's the shoot, jump, shoot, or move, shoot, jump. That's what I was trying to say. All right, let's look at Warlord traits real quick. Wound rolls of 1. Okay, you know your commander shooting this fusion. That's not a bad idea. 6+, feel no pain. What? What does that say? Oh, a wound roll of a 6. The armor penetration characteristic of that is improved by 1. It's kind of like the Storm of Fire, but it doesn't give it to other people. It's just for him. Oh, no. You pick an enemy unit that's visible to him. Okay. That synergized with the DACA pretty well. That's not bad. When your warlord advances, add 6 to their movement characteristic for that movement phase instead of rolling a dice. Whoa, nobody will ever pick that. Never in a million years. If your warlord is within 12 of an enemy unit at the start of your shooting phase, you can reroll failed hit rolls made for your warlord until the end of the phase. That's okay. Again, for the fusion commander, maybe. You can reroll failed hit rolls for your warlord as long as they have not moved this turn. Warlord can advance and still shoot as if they hadn't advanced this turn. Ugh. And then going down the line, roll a d6 each. So 5+++, so feel no pain. Cool. Your warlord has the Master of War, Volley Fire, or Failure to is not an option ability. The range of the ability is increased to 9 inches. But you do get a command point. That's cool. Whilst within 12 of your warlord, friendly Croute invested units gain the for the greater good ability. Never. You hear me? None of you take that ever. And if you do, I will find you. And I will give you a noogie. Beacon of Honor. Are you guys seeing this? No, I'm off page, sorry. In the glare right now for some reason. I think it's because it got dark outside. We're going to work on this, guys. It'll be better next time, but this is my janky one. This is from Humble Beginnings for us. Friendly Sassia units within 6 of the model reduce the number of models that flee as a result of a failed morale test by 1. Ugh. Who takes that? Borkin, for each unit, for each hit, roll a 6+ made for your warlord, add 1 to the wound roll for that attack. Yeah, that's pretty good. Damn, that's actually really good. Hit roll of a 6. Alright. Some accelerators, maybe. Get ready for it, guys. Farsight Enclaves. This is the warlord trait you have to take if you're taking that Farsight, because you have him tattooed on your butt, and you also took the Tenant earlier. Your warlord can perform, and it says warlord, but we know who we're talking about here. Farsight can perform a heroic intervention if they are within 6 inches of any enemy units after the enemy has completed all their charges. Your warlord can move up to 6 inches when performing a heroic intervention, so long as they end their move closer to the nearest enemy model. See, the thing that's weird about that is it's so redundant that it makes me look at it. It says your warlord can perform a heroic intervention if they are within 6 of any enemy unit. Then the next sentence says they can move as long as they're doing that. And it's like, yeah, but we knew that. I thought it was just saying even if it's not a heroic intervention, like if it can't make it, it still gets to move 6 towards the enemy. That's kind of cool. It's not super useful, but it's kind of cool. But it's not saying that. It's literally just repeating itself. If your warlord was charged, or performed a heroic intervention, then until the end of the turn, you can reroll failed hit rolls made for him. So that's cool. He's hitting on 2s, though. That's cool. Here's the signature systems. Riptide is the one you guys knew about. You had that in the index, I believe. The Onager Gauntlet. Pretty badass until you read that part right there that says each time the bear fights, it can make 1 and only 1 attack with this weapon. Why? Why? Does this codex get ripped in half and blow up if we're talking about a commander making 3 or 4 attacks at strength 10 -4 d6 damage? Are we? It's a relic. You only get 1. What are we afraid of? I would have just said it's just a relic, and people would be taking Onager gauntlets. They would have, I know, it's gotta be 1 punch, I know, and it's in the fluff, I get it. I think Tau would forgive them. I think if Games Workshop came out and said, guys, it's no longer the one dick punch, I think they'd be like, alright, that's fair. That's fine. Maybe 1 punch, but flat 6 damage. Alright, that's a healthier, sure, some compromise, something, right? Like, you wouldn't take it. You just wouldn't take it as it is. Nobody takes it. I mean, this is less of a no, absolutely. This is not a Crude Hound. Let me just say that. But I don't know. -1 leadership. A supernova launcher. I like the seismic destabilizer, by the way. Take a look at that. Another way to get on a roll of a 6, by the way, they take a mortal. So that's 2. Pretty cool. And there's the fusion blades down there for. Can he not take them? I guess can Farsight not take them, or does he have them? I don't know. He can't take him because he's a named character, right? Alright, so this page. Yeah, where's the name, guys? Here's the name character. I'm gonna look at that first. Anchi, 60. Anba, 85. 10 points for the 2 guard. Farsight's pretty cool. Dark Strider's a good 45 there if you're gonna take any number of troops. Even if you don't, though. He's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Storm Surge starts at 180. But it gets up there point-wise. The Pulse Driver Cannon's 97 points, for instance, so immediately he becomes nearly 280. So he's mid 300 points. Commander and Cold Star, though, is just 90 points. So you're literally paying 18 points more to have him flying around at 40 inches. 40 inches. Yeah, do it. Pay the 18 points. Long Strike only at base 137. Not bad. You have to pay for the heavy rail cannon. Yeah, I guess you do. I don't know. I thought he would be a named character, but I guess not. Zoomstar. I've never heard that. That's nice. Crisis Battlesuit's 42 points. Can take him in a unit of 9. Yeah, see Riptide, 185. They needed that. Yeah, oh, okay. Crude 5 points. Still good. Doesn't change what I was saying. You don't have to pay for the Croute rifle or something, do you? Hang on. No, Croute rifle 0 points. Okay. Shield drone 10 points. Yep, fair. 10 or 11. And here's the support systems. So they're not relics. They're I misspoke. You can pay for target lock on a lot of things, and it is where did I see that? It's mostly 6 points. Oh, Ghost Kill, Riptide, and Storm Surge 12. Supremacy Railgun? Where did I miss that? Oh, is it on the... melee weapons, you're only paying for equalizers. It's 1 point. I don't know what the fuck that is. I think that's... It's not on the Vespid, is it? And then let's get a shot of the weapons and their cost. Yeah, sorry for the glare, guys. We'll fix it for the next time we do it. Supremacy's on the fortification. Okay. That's a terrible shot. There we go. Wow, is a Seeker Missile... Yeah. Seeker Missile's 5 points? Get the fuck out of here. Alright, guys. Seeker Missiles on everything. And that is it. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, so before I start taking questions from the chat, I will just say I will be doing this very differently in the future. I'm also tired because I woke up at what my body time was 2:30 a.m. to catch a flight, and then we flew here, and then I streamed because I'm an idiot. I did nap for 2 hours, but I am wiped. So all of that will be different for future streams. I will make sure and hopefully be home and know how much talking this is so I can have more energy for it. But my overall thoughts on the Tau Codex is, like I said, you're going to want to take Croute. You're going to want 2, maybe 3 battalions, which means you're taking those 3 commanders, and then you're filling out the additional 3 HQ slots with things like an Ethereal or 2, and then perhaps someone like a Dark Strider or, a couple of those guys pretty reliably. And that's not even, you're not really giving up much for that. Like the leadership bubbles on the Ethereals are nice. The commanders obviously are some of your highest damage output and most mobile utility guys you can have. I think Riptides are back in. It's not the same. You're not going to be seeing, you shouldn't be seeing 3 or 4 Riptides. I think even at their point reduction, maybe 3. It's just that everything is so killy in this edition that it's not like it used to be, where it was like Riptides just had so many good matchups because their 2-up save was just so hard for people to get past. And then their Invul save made them, really, really effective. They still have those things in this edition. There's just more things that get around it. Mortal wounds. You're going to be... one of the things missing from this codex is psychic defense, but that's Tau. They just don't have that. They never have. I could be mistaken. They could have a stratagem that I just glossed over. I'm almost certain they do, but maybe they don't. But you don't want to be putting all your eggs in one basket, because you're going to be you'll run into that guy that's like, I've got 6 Psychers. Well, there goes your Riptide. And your Riptide, by the way, killed half itself to get there. Crisis bombs are going to be strong. I love the idea of -1 to hit to that unit. And then I love the idea of wounding something, and then they're all +1 to wound. So a lot of those, all of a sudden the plasma rifle becomes a little bit better. Those high yield missile packs, strength 7, -1. They're either 2 damage or D3. I think they're 2. But if they're wounding on 2+ all the time against all targets, most targets rather, that's pretty good because they put out the DACA. So there's all kinds of little synergy that way. And then I think this codex, which I think is hard for Tau, I think it offers a few different viable ways to play them. It used to be you basically had to play Tau 1 of 2, maybe 3 ways to have any success. I look at this codex and say, I could see a crisis focus. I could see somebody going big monsters. Storm Surge is playable. Riptides are good. And then, of course, the Forge World stuff is fantastic. I could see the fortifications coming back, the tide walls and whatnot. I don't think they're so good that they're going to be like an auto take, but I think that they could be viable and not hold you back from winning games. Just a quick note on the hamstringing of the commanders. I don't know that that's the wrong thing. I mean, a lot of people got really upset about that. They felt like it was unfair, that treatment's not across the board in all codexes, which I think is actually a pretty impossible standard. And I think if we take a second and pull back, I think in a few months we'll probably be pretty universally happy with that. And I'm talking Tau players as well. I think it's forcing you guys to look into the codex and enjoy some of what it has to offer, as opposed to still being like BS2, 4 fusion. Yep, I'm just taking 6 of those. Because the rest of the codex collapses in on that after that. Because when you take 6 commanders, you want the drones all around them to give them more life. And then you're like, I guess I want some marker lights, so I'm taking, a couple of Pathfinder teams and some marker sniper guys. And, there's 1,500 points, so what do I do with my last 500? It's troops and an ethereal. And then that's like every list ever. And I think that is a very effective way to play, and it's pretty good. But I think it just like sucks the whole codex into this one black hole that actually isn't that good. It's like pretty good, but it's not like Tau have been winning tournaments right and left with this build. With these stratagems, of course, perhaps it'd be more powerful, but I think you'll be happy with 3 commanders, because that's still quite a few. And then, filling out the rest of your slot with more utility. I think Tau is different this time. I think you still could find people falling into the slot of drop in, shoot, hope it does enough, win or lose from there. But I think you're going to see more Tau gun lines. I could see 3 hammerheads with long strike. You have one of the best screens there are right now in Croute. They're one of the weakest defensively, I would say, but they actually have decent offensive output. And then that scout move gives them a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. And at only 5 points a pop, that's 1 point more than a Termagant. And they move more, they have a scout move, they shoot for twice as far, they're better in close combat, and they have the same save. Pretty good. I hope Tau players know what they got with those Crude. And then I wonder if broadsides will come back. I'm kind of looking at that going, I don't know. So that's my thoughts. We went through the whole damn thing. So I'm going to look at the chat and answer some questions there and engage with you guys. And then we're going to call it a stream. And I will upload it to YouTube tonight or tomorrow. I'm completely zonked. But we're going to have just a quick aside as I'm waiting for you guys to perhaps ask some questions in the chat. The next codex is Necrons, and I will do the same thing for that. I will try to set this up better so that we have a better camera angle that's not as fuzzy coming in and out. We'll try to eliminate the glare. And I will know at what clip I want to go through the codex. I want to keep this closer to an hour, hour and a half. We're pushing 2.5 hours right now. So, a little bit different. I think broadsides are going to be pretty good this edition. I agree. All the questions about my StarCraft and other things that I'm doing, by the way, guys, I'm not going to answer that. This is a Tau Codex review, so I'd love to talk to you about Tau and Warhammer 40k and stuff like that. One of the guys was asking how much I power squat and stuff. If you want to talk about my body or what I do in other video games, let's just wait, because I stream other games all the time. This is just a special little thing we're doing right now. It's not a crisis that confers -1 to hit. It's a stratagem that requires a commander within 18. Okay, that doesn't really change what I was saying. Having a commander within 18 inches of your crisis bomb is probably what you want to have anyways, and I did say it was a stratagem. I didn't say crisis, just confer that. If I did, I misspoke. I always meant stratagem. Morkan Cept with Pulse Accelerator plus Fireblade puts 3 shots each with a strike team out to 21 inches. Thoughts? I don't know. Unit 10's 31 shots. And if you got Darkstrider somewhere in there, they're +1 to wound. I wouldn't build stuff around that. I think it's nice defensive tactics. I would still just always have your like 15, 20, 30 or whatever Fire Warriors, and then you have nice synergy there. But I heard people talking about like Reese, he's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna have like 50 Fire Warriors. I don't think so. I don't think you build a list around that. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I've got this unit of 10. There's Darkstrider. I've got this stratagem. He's trying to charge me with that unit. Let's do it. I think that's how you use it, in my opinion. I'll ask the only slightly crazy question everyone at Tau 40k on Reddit is wondering. Is Resius actively trying to keep Tau down, and does he actually have contacts to anyone internally in Games Workshop? I gotta tell you, man, I hope this goes further than, I hope this spreads to people, because this is one of the weirdest and silliest things that exists, and it has in 7th. People think that Reese has it out for Tau or something. First of all, it's weird. It's weird to personalize that way, because if everyone that Reese has whined about in the game thought that Reese was out to get them, everyone would think Reese is out to get them. Except for like Wraith Lords. Everyone. Reese is one of my best friends, but one of the whiniest, saltiest people I know. And I say that as a loving brother of his. Has he been down on Tau? Has he whined about them, especially in 7th? Absolutely. Does he have any agenda or contacts in GW that he taps to try and hurt Tau? 100% no. And I promise you, I would swear on Barrison's life, but I'm not going to do that, because Barrison's my baby. No. He has no agenda. You don't need to worry about it. It has gotten to Reese. Reese is like really disturbed by it. Tau people have contacted him so many times to basically talk about this conspiracy theory that he is like, it's kind of funny knowing that and then seeing him talk about Tau, because he is always like, Tau's really good. I'm building a Tau army, you guys. Guys, I'm building a Tau army. He doesn't like, it's sad. It's too bad. I hope people stop saying that, because it's too bad. I had no idea you were into Warhammer 40k in Control. How long have you been playing it for? Since I was 12. Can you try to convince me how crisis suits are in any way great? They seem unreliable with BS4 and expensive. Weapons that don't seem to have a place. Really? You don't like crisis suits? Their advantage is that they can go up to pretty high units, and yes, they're BS4, but so is everything in the Tau Codex except for commanders for the most part. So that problem is pretty non-unique. I like Tau flamer units. You can have little pockets of flamer guys that deep strike in, grab objectives, sit on them, that kind of stuff. You know, tough 4 3-up model is not the worst thing in the world. The big unit heavy hitting is not what it used to be. It's, you know, unfortunately not the most amazing thing ever, but you can put plasma or fusion in there. I think you can put both those. And it's just a lot of DAC, it's a lot of shots, so you want to synergize it well with some other things. You want to obviously have a lot of marker lights on something, but with a 1 command point stratagem to add D3 to something, as long as you have any marker lights in your list, which you should, you're talking about getting them pretty juiced up. I wouldn't build a list around it. I do agree with you with that. My personal take is I would not, if I made a Tau list, I wouldn't have a unit of 9 crisis suits. I would like to have a couple units of 2 or 3 kitted out differently, like a fusion one, an accelerator one perhaps, and a flamer one, so from different tools or something like that. Deep strike them around, utilize them that way. Dark Strider and a Devilfish with Breachers. Yeah, people are talking about stuff like that. He's only 45 points, so it's not that big of an investment to do that kind of thing. I find myself underwhelmed when people are trying to make infantry super amazing. There was that in the best that we've had yet is excuse me, Alpha Legion Cultists with +1 to wound. Showing up, double tapping you. That's about as good as it gets, but even that has kind of fallen off because it's good, but I don't know. It's okay. I'm not telling you not to try it, though. Definitely give it a shot. I don't care if a single person's down on a faction. It happens all through the hobby. It's more important to look at the design team and their vision for a faction. That is where I'm saddened. Yeah, I get it. I always just ask people to be pretty constructive about it. Warhammer in particular has a lot of people that like fly off the handle pretty darn quick. And I think that's one of the quickest ways to completely invalidate an otherwise very reasonable thing that you're saying. There have been bad rules. There have been mishandling of codexes. And when people are like, I'm burning, I'll never buy another thing again. No one ever looks at that guy and goes, oh no, I feel terrible. They're always like, wow, what a weirdo. But when that person's like, hey, here's how you mishandle that, this sucks, I'm a huge fan, it really, really hurts me, that criticism gets heard, I promise you. I know it does. Going down. What do you think of the Necron Codex leaks? I haven't really looked at them. I'm going to have that Codex in my hand this week, I believe. So I will do that stream as soon as the embargo's up. The Storm Surge got me back in Warhammer 40k because I love the model. What's your favorite model? Any army? Warlord Titan, my man. I have a Warlord frickin' Titan. It's my favorite model. Other than that, I don't know. One of my knights, maybe? Like the Knight Ashpros. I'm reworking my Blood Angels. Any suggestions for what to go for? Have a unit of 10 plus Death Company. Have a unit of 5 to 10 Sanguinary Guard. And I'm a huge fan of Lamarty's. He's sick. That's a good base to start with, my man. I don't know why I picked this up. All right, guys, we seem to be kind of winding down there, so let me just leave you with a couple of things. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. It will be up on YouTube, so if you want to watch from the beginning or watch it again, it'll be there. I want to reiterate, the quality of this was not where I want it to be. There was some glare, there's some out of focus. We will try to improve that. But if you really enjoyed this, then please make sure and do the cool stuff like, follow the channel on Twitch and YouTube. If you got the means and inclination, do consider subscribing. And then just putting this out there, we actually have a really fantastic Warhammer discussion group in my Discord, which you don't have to pay. I know whenever I say this, a lot of people are like, it's going to cost money. Nope, Discord's free. And it's actually a great channel. It's really, really wonderful. And we've got some good people in there discussing Warhammer all the time. I advertise, if you're wondering the angle I'm coming at you from, it's that I want to talk to more people about Warhammer. That's my selfish interest. I already have a bunch of people in there and we're doing it all the time, but if more of you join us, it's just that much better. So yeah, next up I will have the Necron Codex, and then they're sending me the Forgebane box, and I'll review that as well. One final blurb about me. My angle on all this is going to be from the perspective of competitive play, so if that's not for you and you're listening to this on YouTube, I apologize. That's what I really enjoy, and that's where I'm coming from. But I'm actually going to be brutally honest with you as well, and one of the kind of cool things about Games Workshop, they did not hand me this codex and say you can only say favorable things. They said nothing like that. They said, here's the codex, tell people about it. So I'm going to give you brutal, hopefully when you heard this review, you heard me say it a whole bunch. If I don't like something, I'll tell you. If I think something's garbage, I'll tell you. And if I'm wrong, you tell me, okay? I want that discussion. So that's it. I'm going to relax. I'm going to go eat. We'll upload this video to YouTube. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I will be back on streaming tomorrow for my Twitch stream. For those of you that are just checking me out for the first time, expect this kind of content on YouTube and on my Twitch. You guys have a great day. I'll see you later.